Exceptional beauty oftentimes brings a lot of assumptions where people think your life is easy, that doors just fly open for you automatically just because of that face card, and that you're constantly just being validated everywhere you go. And I've experienced this firsthand. I've had people tell me that they didn't feel like they needed to tell me I looked beautiful today because they know that I already know it, or that someone has already told me that. But in reality, beauty can attract a lot of scrutiny, a lot of hate, a lot of evil eye, a lot of spiritual warfare, which is what a lot of people don't talk about and don't want to admit. They would rather think that the beautiful person should just be quiet and humbly accept whatever crumbs people give them. I honestly realized too that there is a really sinister objectification of beautiful women where it's like we would rather you be seen and not heard. You know, a lot of people like to shrink us down to just what they see when they look at us. So they diminish our voices, our feelings, our ambitions, and just chalk us up to being this object and this pretty little thing that should just be quiet and look pretty in a corner. One of the main things that is not a flex when it comes to being exceptionally beautiful is the envy that you face. This is bigger than people just hating on you. It's really like you're dealing with constant spiritual warfare everywhere you turn, from passive-aggressive friendships, weird coworkers, weird managers who undermine you and want to sabotage you, or random women in your family or just in your daily life that compete with you and use you as comparison. So that looks like the colleague who likes to exclude you from group chats or meetings, or the friend who makes subtle jabs about your looks. And another aspect of it is constantly being accused of seeking male validation and attention, even when you're just existing. So these are just some examples of what envy looks like. And so envy isn't always loud, and that's the reason why it's hard sometimes for exceptionally beautiful women to get support from other women who may be average or below average, or even men or just anyone. You know, a lot of times people think that envy is this out loud, in your face thing, when a lot of times it's quiet. It's quiet sabotage. It's people quietly chipping away at your spirit. Okay? Beautiful women have to face a lot of things, sometimes twice as much as the average person, because of how they look. And then they also have to work twice as hard to prove that they're kind, that they're smart, and that they're just like everyone else, so that they're not viewed as threatening. So while you have people working overtime to destroy you, you're working overtime to disarm them, to try to get them to see you as a human being, because they're looking at you and treating you as if you're this extraterrestrial celebrity. Another aspect to why being exceptionally beautiful is not always the flex people like to make it seem is that dating is not easy. It's very fucking confusing. Because people assume that beautiful women get any man they want, but a lot of times it's sometimes the opposite. So you're attracting attention, but people that aren't really trying to be intentional with you. What do I mean by this? So men will tend to idealize you, but they don't want to get to know you. So they want to experience you, but they don't want to get to know you on a deeper level. They don't want to learn about your family history. They want to learn about your life, your upbringing, your passions, your interests. They're not really thinking about that. They're just thinking about, damn, you're beautiful. How can I show you off to my boys? Damn, you're beautiful. I'm trying to get you in bed. Damn, you're beautiful. We're going to make beautiful babies. But they're not really trying to think about nurturing your heart, your spirit, and potentially even marrying you at some point and making an honest woman out of you. And like I was saying, when it comes to men and like showing you off and treating you like a trophy, a lot of men can approach you to elevate their status, not because they're actually genuinely interested. So this will happen a lot of times with men who are in the limelight, you know, big executive men, men who are in sports, men who are entertainers like artists, rappers, that type of thing. They will tend to get with women who they don't have any type of emotional connection to, just because she's an IG baddie and she has all these followers and a lot of other men and women covet her. He wants her to be able to say that he had her. Simple, that's it. You know, it's not because he was drawn to her and her spirit. It's not because they both are equally yoked. It's not because they both genuinely like each other. It's usually because he's looking at her as an object to elevate his status and make him look like he's that guy, because he got the girl that a lot of men are desiring and a lot of women are coveting. And this ties into that trophy trope. So they look at you as this trophy or this fantasy, and they rarely view you as a genuine partner. And this also ties into the feeling of being unseen. So a lot of exceptionally beautiful women talk about feeling unseen, even though they're admired. A big example of this is Marilyn Monroe. You know, I love her story, and I think it's so incredibly true, you know, when she would express how she always felt very lonely, even though she had all these people around her, all these people who wanted to be with her, who wanted to be friends with her, who wanted to get her in bed. It was like she had all those things, but no one really knew her for real. No one saw her for her. No one wanted to get to know her on a deeper level. So she kind of just felt like this object that was being seen for the external, but she craved her internal being seen as well. And that's something that I can relate to 1000%. And then to make everything worse, I think the biggest thing that I've noticed when it comes to exceptional beauty is the lack of grace. The lack of grace is like the cherry on top of everything. So if you put aside the betrayal from friends, the competition from random women in your family and just in your life, dealing with men who objectify you and treat you less than because they objectify you, then you have people who just in general do not give you grace. It's like that's the biggest kicker of it all, is like exceptionally beautiful women are often given less grace than the average person. If you happen to express something hurt you or is painful or traumatic, it's like, oh, you're being dramatic. They look at your tears as manipulative. They think that you deserve to struggle, and they think that your struggle is your fault. They assume that anything that you went through is your fault because, again, in movies and media, just in general, people have demonized beauty to make it seem as though beautiful things and beautiful people are usually the perpetuators of drama, chaos, confusion, issues, problems, instead of realizing that maybe people are attracted to beauty and bring their nonsense to beautiful people. Like, no one thinks about that. You know, everyone just thinks that if you're going through something and you're a beautiful woman, you deserved it because you probably initiated the nonsense. They think, oh, well, if you're going through something, you can be strong or you'll be all right. Why? Because people project strength onto beauty. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of just brush off your issues because they equate strength with beauty. But the whole thing with that is we're not invincible, and we're not these, like, again, aliens, these people that just don't feel things or don't go through things. It's like people have this crazy conception that because you are exceptionally beautiful, you have never gone through anything. So that's why every time you turn around, someone's trying to make your life hard on purpose. People will purposely give you a hard time because they think that you have never gone through anything in your life. So what does that end up looking like? That ends up looking like you are going through your entire life. At every turn, at every milestone, at every level of your life, you're dealing with the same demon. That's why whenever you were in middle school and you were being bullied, that same demon that was on your bully or multiple bullies jumped onto the other people in your high school and onto the other people in your college. It was just a different space, a different scenario, and different people. But it was the same demon on the ass, tormenting you, bothering you with the same spirit and the same energy of what you dealt with in your past years. They look at it as you should be quiet and stop complaining and stop speaking because you're beautiful and you shouldn't have a care in the world if people have attacked you your whole life because guess what? You're pretty. So you shouldn't care. And that's just not fair to me. And that's why I'm going to continue to speak on these things and air these types of people out every chance I get on this channel. So ladies, drop down in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll also be leaving my email in the description box so you can share your stories with me there as well. Have a lovely day, ladies.